So the next video that we're going to record is aligning on your factors, which is the next step in the account management process and is tied very closely to this first box on the platform, which is framing your decisions. And so the first, just to remember this context here, this is Wonka Industries. We're working with Charlie, the brand manager, who runs the fizzy lifting drink brand. And I'm going to be walking him through, or walking them through, I'm going to be walking Charlie through how to frame their decision. So here we go. All right, Charlie. Well, now that we've set up Fizzy Lifting Drink as its own segment here in the Keen platform, the very first thing we need to do is frame our decision. And if you think about the words frame is really kind of a box, right? And so that's what we're doing here. We're putting a box around your decision. And when we say decision here at Keen, we usually mean the marketing budgeting decision that you have, that you're using the Keen platform to support. And so in this case, what we're going to do in framing your decision is train the Keen platform to think about those levers that you have the way you do. Well, the first thing we have to do then is define what those levers actually are. And so we're going to click into frame your decision, and this takes us into the factors page. Now the factors think of them as kind of the inputs and the outputs of the business itself. So in this case, it is everything from the marketing tactics that you're executing against. It's the environmental effects and factors. So everything from distribution, relative price, seasonality, anything that affects your business and the decisions you're making, but is not something under your control. And lastly, the outcome metric itself, which we'll get to in a moment. So the first thing we're going to do here is start to build out the actual levers of your decision. So when you start to go into your business, you can do specific things like looking for very specific tactics. So in this case, we'll add TikTok. You can also, and so you'll see it's added there. We can add many other factors here. In this case, maybe we'll do distribution as an environmental factor. So what you can see here is we're building up the list of not only the sales that we're driving, but the list of variables, whether you can control them from an investment standpoint or whether you are, whether it's a number you get, it's a reality you get, it's part of your environment, and therefore it's an environmental factor. So a couple ways you can do this. You can search, and as you can see, there are just innumerate channels that we've gathered from that our marketing elasticity engine has created and validated with our many customers who we've worked with over the years. You can also say you've got something very specific. You can start a tactic from scratch. So in this case, let's call this a tactic. Maybe you're starting to think about threads. Meta's new concept, and full disclosure, Threads isn't in here yet. So it's a new tactic that's come to the market. The beautiful thing about Keen's marketing elasticity engine is you can describe what it is to the engine and it will pick it up. So in this case, let's do impressions of Threads. This is generally a social tactic, so we'll add some concepts there and see if there's anything else that makes sense. I think social is good for now. The timing of impact, as you're thinking about Threads, my guess is you're probably doing transactional things right now. But if it's more about equity building and building out your brand, you can click that option, and then you want to describe it, right? So you're going to say Meta, Facebook, copy of Twitter. You could say showing images and text in a streaming fashion to drive digital engagement. So however you describe that tactic will also play into how the MEE begins to give that tactic some amount of value. So we'll add that. So now we've got threads. And as you can see, I can go as you and I talk through all the different investment levers that you use. We can start to build out this business factor sheet. There are a couple other ways that you can add factors here. You can also upload factors. So if you've got a file, you can immediately upload it. But first, what I'd recommend here is downloading the bulk factor template. What this is going to do is just give you a very simple spreadsheet to just start building your tactic. So if I spread this out here, you can see, you can name the tactic, you can say what the metric is, write a description of some sort, and the type of tactic it is. In this case, you want it to be tactic or environment. You can categorize it if that makes sense, and then again, whether it's long-term, short-term timing, and if there's a logarithmic transformation, which if you don't understand what that means, don't worry about it, you can add that as well. So this bulk load template is really just meant to show you the file type that is necessary to upload. In this case, I've created a couple of bulk factors for your business, and assuming we've had some conversations around it, you can see here in this case, right now I'm going to delete both TikTok and distribution because we've already added those. So then when I go into here, let me just save that real quick. There we go. I'm going to find that file. There it is. So then I'm going to upload it into here, confirm, and as you can see, boom, instantly those tactics are added, the description. I can edit these types and also add in any sort of other information that is necessary for those things. But as you can see, it was instantaneous and those factors came right up. So I'll click save here and boom, without doing anything else, I've now added the environment around which we're going to be optimizing. And so one other thing here that I want to show you is you can also begin to group your tactics. So first thing you're going to do here is add a group name. I'm going to just call this a social group because I like to look at how all my social tactics are working together. Then you drag and drop the tactics you'd like into that. I also think a digital tactic is useful here, where I like to see both digital coupons and Google Display and email. And then lastly, we're going to call this our retail tactics, where I could add both merchandising and trade. But in this case, samples isn't really a category that matters to me from a group perspective, so I'm going to leave that ungrouped. So you can see we can start to add these groupings so that we've got some clarity as we report on this on what collectively the group is doing. So the last thing I want to show you here in this training is if at any point you're needing to understand how to navigate this page, we've got these page guides here that will actually walk you in very detailed ways how to do certain parts of the application. There's a link to our help center, obviously, where we start with a question. And then if you do need to contact us, our support team is always available. And there's emails that you can, or a support ticket you can generate, and our team will be on top of it. So as we go out of this section of framing your decision, the next thing that we're going to want to do is add information. And so we've named our tactics, we've named the levers that are at our disposal. What we're going to do next is actually start to add the data behind those tactics to get a sense of both the investments and the activity that is generated from that information. One last element here, if you are doing a model that is somewhat non-traditional, or the response variable, the outcome metric, is different than sales, you can actually go into that outcome metric and describe it as something else. So maybe you call maybe this is an online-only model and you want to call this e-com sales, or you want to look at equivalized dollars instead of the units. There are some ways here that you can affect or edit the outcome metric. Generally our default here is units, and then we'll be putting both the dollars behind the units as well as the quantity. But you can do, we've done orders, prescriptions, revenue, shipments, a lot of different ways to define that outcome metric. But if we go back into here, really what we're looking for is a grouping of the factors which make up both the things you control, the things you're investing in, as well as the things that are affecting your number, whether it be distribution, seasonality, etc. And all those collectively result in an outcome, which in this case is sales. So that is the frame that we're building here to then start to support your decision. So the next thing we're going to do is start to get the data. What I would recommend here is actually you focus on getting spend. So if you could do weekly or monthly spend for each of those investment factors, and then also pull your POS data from whether it's a data provider or you've got it out of your own system. Our next conversation here is going to be uploading data into the system.